On the field, off the field, sports talk, entertainment, and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 59 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Leighton Pip Shaventone.
I feel for you, Philip Rivers.
And sitting in today, our guest host, Brandon, the hot take detective, B. Riker.
In 2016, Ryan Fitzpatrick was benched for Geno Smith after posting league worst in completion percentage, QBR, and throwing 10 picks in 3 games. He went on record saying that everybody doubted him, GM, coach, owner, and his whole team, and they would later regret it. 2 years later, how do you like them apples, Jets?
You just sprinkle a little Fitz magic on it, and everything will be okay. Dippers, be sure to be listening on Spotify and iTunes. We will be moving off of SoundCloud this week. Download, subscribe, and give us that 5-star review. Be sure to check out thefsgn.com where you can find our podcast and other podcasts as well. Be sure to follow on Twitter and Instagram. We've been trying to keep that updated more often than not, so just be checking with that to get some news and notes. Guys, we have an awesome interview for you today. It is Kyle Driscoll, fresh off of his win for the title in freestyle cage fighting. Great interview, cool guy. Be sure to listen for that. We have a jam-packed show. Week 1 of the NFL season has come and gone. We discussed what we saw in the matchups. We discussed the MLB playoff picture as we are officially in what I would like to call the home stretch. We have a full saucy 6-pack of games to break down, and we even have darts. Is it a sport? It is back. Guys, I talked about it already. Week 1 of the NFL season has come and gone, and we had some very notable games that'll probably be potential playoff matchups or have potential playoff implications. The Eagles over the Falcons, the Chiefs over the Chargers, and the Packers actually making a 20-point lead disappear over the Bears. Guys, we'll hit it off first with what we saw on Thursday night, the Eagles over the Falcons. What were your thoughts on that game?
I know the beginning of the season, so I'm not going too much into it, but I think either team looked really good. And I just kind of the quarterback. Nick Foles was absolutely terrible. Matt Ryan was just okay. And the one thing, and it's still here this season, I guess, is Julio Jones not going to score touchdowns. They just cannot find him in the red zone, and it makes absolutely no sense as to why. Freaking, at 169 yards, no red zone catches. They got first drive of the game all the way down to the 5-yard line. Julio Jones then comes in for one of the 4 plays, and they don't throw him the ball. I don't understand the Falcon offense.
No, I was totally going to agree with you there. Like, first of all, for Julio Jones owners, now I'm a fantasy owner of him, it's just so damn frustrating. It seems like their only offense is either run the ball or throw it up in the corner for Julio Jones, which, sure, Julio Jones is a specimen. He can do that, but it doesn't seem like there's any set plays. It just seems like a one-step, throw it up. And on top of that, like you were talking about the quarterback play, there was 77 damn passes thrown, and only 50% of them were completed. It was really kind of hard to watch, in my opinion, and I was really disappointed in the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was very disappointed in the Falcons. You know, whenever Week 1 comes around, I really don't jump to overreactions because the season is so long. But whenever the game went exactly like I had seen that team the year prior, and the year prior I was not impressed, I start to hit the panic button on this team immediately. I mean, we're talking about a team that was, a one bad holding call away from winning a Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Last year, it was the identical situation to how they lost in Philly last year in the playoffs. I mean, this team cannot get Julio Jones involved soon enough in the red zone because they really don't have any other option there. I mean, you do have Mohamed Sanu, you have Calvin Ridley, like you have weapons in that offense, and nobody has been able to make them click with Matt Ryan other than one single season with Kyle Shanahan. So you're looking at a team that's unbelievably talented, but it just seems like it is the same team just another year. And that's really unfortunate because we're going to watch one of the most high-powered offenses come and go and really have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, over the last 2 seasons, Matt Ryan is 1 for 20 when targeting Julio Jones in the end zone.
That's crazy.
No, that's
What do you think's crazier? That he's 1 for 20, or that it's only been 20 times that he's thrown Julio Jones into the red zone or in the end zone?
I think it's a split because rarely in pro sports do I legitimately think that I could do better than that. But all you have to do is just throw it up in the air, and I feel like if you throw it in the air, Julio has better than a 20% chance to come down with that ball, and they're completing at a 5% clip.
Well, if you looked at it, they did try that a couple times. They tried to throw it up, but it just seems like the ball's never in the right place. At the end of the game, Julio catches the ball, but it's way out of bounds. Other than that, it's thrown over his head. It's just, I feel like it's just not this difficult.
Yeah, no, same team, just another year. That's the best way I can sum up this whole entire team. So, guys, we'll talk a little bit about something that was a little surprising to me, at least on Sunday. The Chiefs actually were able to pull off a win against the Chargers in L.A. Patrick Mahomes, it was his second career start. Guys, what do we think about that game? How impressive was Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes was pretty impressive, but this is even stranger to me just by looking at the stats. If you were just to look at the stats, the Chargers dominated almost every facet of the game. They dominated time of possession, total yards, total plays, and even averaged more yards per play. The offense looked great. It looked as advertised, but for a defense that we all thought was going to be really good, I mean, they let Patrick Mahomes do whatever the hell he wanted, especially for the first 3 quarters of the game.
Yeah, both teams didn't show up at all. But Tyreek Hill, I'm not going to get down and say I might have been wrong with Tyreek Hill and calling him a bust or not tough team or whatever. I might have been wrong on that. I kind of hope I am, honestly, because he's really, really cool player to watch. But, man.
Good take.
Fucking poor Phillip Rivers, dude.
Just, oh, yeah. No,
just
I agree.
Throwing perfect balls to guys in the end zone and they're fucking dropping them. The causing picks. I mean, I love watching Phillip Rivers get pissed off, but at some point, I tell you, I feel bad for the poor dude.
I mean, he still threw for 400 yards.
Oh, dude, he should have thrown for well over 500. In that game, Tyrell Williams was streaking down the middle of the field, wide open in the end zone. Well, I mean, he had a guy about 2 yards behind him, but that's wide open in the NFL standards.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers almost hits him in the helmet with the ball, and the ball bounces off his hands and is eventually incomplete. I feel so bad for this guy. I mean, you look at his defense in week 1. We're looking at this team. Man, this defense loaded. They're great. All they did was add Derwin James, who may be an all-pro defender in 2 or 3 seasons. Bam. Joey Bosa's hurt. Bam. Verrett's hurt. I mean, the defense, your defense, after the draft, if you made the depth chart then, it was not what we saw on Sunday. I mean, obviously the Chargers are going to rebound. Like you said, they did dominate if you just look at the statistics, but they had some big plays get away from them. The punt return for a touchdown, just some bad stuff. And, you know, I'm at the point with Phillip Rivers that I had basically loved watching this guy get mad, but I just want to go one Sunday without something going terribly wrong for this guy because I legitimately feel bad for him. I mean, it's funny as hell. I've always made the joke that, you know, there's 3 guarantees in life that, you know, death, taxes, and Phillip Rivers behind by 1 score with less than 2 minutes to go. It's unbelievable to me, and I just hope that the Chargers can turn things around. But the Chiefs, they looked way better than anybody even could have predicted.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, this is super early to say this. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's going to have that rookie season that Cam Newton had. I know not his rookie year, but basically his rookie year. He got the kind of season Cam Newton had, the kind of season that's not watching on a pace for having. Hopefully not to his ACL, though.
It's his Ben Simmons rookie year.
There you go. So he's technically
he's technically a rookie.
Yeah, he really is. But, you know, I think this is what we're going to see with the Chiefs. I think they're going to be they're a super dynamic and explosive team, but I'm going to see them laying some eggs, I think, the rest of the season, intermittently. I don't think they're ever going to be consistent this year. But it is impressive they did it against a good Charger squad. So,
yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be hot and cold, but I want to see this team hot because that was fun on Sunday.
Oh, very fun.
So something that hits a little close to home to me, this game had a large roller coaster of emotions. So, guys, in case you weren't watching Sunday night, the Bears and the Packers, This is a game that everybody and anybody who watches football tunes into, no matter what these teams' records are, because they're usually very good games. So the Bears blow a 20-point lead starting in the third quarter to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers after Rodgers had been carted off the field. Guys, what were your takeaways from Sunday Night Football?
Basically that the Packers without Aaron Rodgers might go on 0-16 because the Sean Kyle is definitely going to get the job done, and that whenever you put Aaron Rodgers in this way, in a time where he has to play like a West Coast style offense almost, he might be the best quarterback of all time because he's not having to run around for 5 minutes until some guy get open downfield. Like that was insane. Like he got hurt, came back in the game, did a West Coast style offense, where he stood through slant patterns most of the game, and it picked him apart. Like it was insane. It was really beautiful to watch, really.
Yeah, I mean, the fourth quarter was all Aaron Rodgers, and that was great.
Randall Cobb.
And some Randall Cobb, some Devontae Adams, as we know through fantasy. The Bears, though, really did impress for 3 quarters. They played very well. Their defense looked mean. Their defense looks like – we hyped them up really big. Their defense looked like that. My biggest knock on the Bears, though, I'm going to kind of take a different way. I just don't see any big play potential from this team, really, and that's the only thing that's concerning. I think they're going to have a lot of close games, but if they get down early, I don't see Mitch, really leading an offensive charge. This is more of like a Dak Prescott-led Cowboys team to me.
See, I'm going to go – I don't think that he's Dak Prescott-like. I mean, I think that Mitch is a better runner than Dak, which I think, initially, just whenever you think about it, a lot of people would say that Dak is actually the better runner. I think Mitch is a lot more talented on his feet than Dak is. He's extremely fast, and he does get happy feet in the fourth quarter. Did that all last season. Basically, anytime that Mitch had a big play last year was because he was running. This year, it seems like it's going to be the same thing, but we're looking at a guy who started 25 games in college and the NFL combined. So he's just young. It's going to take some time for that to develop. But I think that there is big play potential for this team. I really do. And it's going to come with time. Because you look at a lot of what Nagy had done yesterday. It was a lot of the RPO and very exotic looks from the offense. And you're looking at a guy, Mitch Trubisky, like I said, 26 starts in college, in the NFL, very young. He's only going to get better at running this offense. And we saw Nagy's offense last year, what the big play potential it comes with. But it comes with a veteran guy like Alex Smith, who we've always looked at as this dink and dunk. And he was even able to, whenever you run the offense correctly, you're able to get the big plays. A lot of what I saw out of Mitch yesterday is it took him a while on his reads. And that's gonna come with, time, just playing and reps. But my biggest takeaway of the Chicago Bears yesterday was Khalil Mack may be the most underpaid guy in the NFL. I mean, you're talking about a guy who played limited snaps in the first half. If this guy was able to be, if he was full go yesterday, the Bears win that game, and it's probably not even close. Because once Aaron Rodgers got hurt, you saw Khalil Mack, he was taking his foot off the gas. The last play, whenever he actually threw the ball to Randall Cobb and he ran for a score, you watch Mack come in, push the tackle all the way back to 2 feet within Rodgers. Rodgers barely moves, and then Mack, it almost seems like he gets exhausted, and he pulls off the guy. So instead of making Rodgers move, Mack got tired. The defense was tired, and all around, it just wasn't not a good fourth quarter by the Bears. But I mean, it is what it is. A lot of Nagy's play calls were similar to the Chiefs in the playoffs last year, which is alarming if you are a Bears fan. But overall, young team. I think there's a lot more to be won by the Bears in this game than the Packers.
I mean, I'm all in with what you said about Khalil Mack, but the reason why I'm saying they don't have big play potential is, the reason the Chiefs did last year, that you had Tyreek Hill, you have Kareem Hunt, who's a little bit more dynamic in the passing game. Jordan Howard, I feel like, is more of he's going to be good this year, but he doesn't have that same big play potential as Kareem Hunt. And honestly, if you look at the stats, man, how do you not say that he is a Dak Prescott-like player? 23 for 35, 171 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And he ran 7 times for 32 yards. And that was pretty much their biggest offense was him running, him and Jordan Howard.
Well, because with Dak, whenever he came out of college, this is a guy that we had seen for years and years and years at Mississippi State, and he was a finished product whenever he came out. If you watch the development between Mitch between 1 and year 2, it's very, very big. And, usually quarterbacks are set in their ways. A lot of times we never really see a guy, if he doesn't have success in his first season, come out and have success in his second season, unless it's a guy like, Jared Goff, who didn't get the playing time in college, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Mitch Trubisky. It's just going to take time, and all the wide receivers that he was throwing to yesterday, with the exception of Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard, are guys he's never thrown the ball to before. You look at Kevin White, who was out last year by the time that he got involved in the offense. You look at Allen Robinson. He's a new toy from Jacksonville. Taylor Gabriel, who I think eventually will be that big play guy for the Bears. He's not as good as Tyreek Hill, but he is still a very, very good complement to the offense with the big play potential. And then you also have Anthony Miller, who's a rookie, Trey Burton. I mean, it's just a list of guys that he hasn't – he has had a training camp, but he hasn't had the game reps that he's going to need to be successful with those toys. So I think it's just one of those teams that come week 6, I think the offense should be clicking on all cylinders, and I think that they'll have that rapport with all the wide receivers. So I'm really looking forward to the offense because the exotic stuff is very fun to watch. Yeah,
watching the game last night, 15 offense looked good in the first half. I don't know if maybe the offense got tired, maybe a little bit out of shape so far in the season, or maybe the Packers just mixed it up. They did mix it up and couldn't figure it out. But this Bears team, the offense is definitely fun to watch. I can see them being a good team. Maybe not, definitely not this year, but in the next 2 or 3 seasons, I can see them being a 10-11 football team.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just going to take some time for this team to gel. But yesterday, ripped my heart out. And I didn't shed a tear, but I was awfully damn close for a week 1 loss.
Punch a hole in your wall?
No, I did not. My walls stayed intact, so I'm pretty proud about that. So, guys, pretty funny. The Steelers and the Browns tied yesterday, okay? So the implications were that the Browns are on this, 17-game losing streak, and the Browns have a 13-year-long losing streak in week 1. So they're able to break the losing streak, but they're still winless in every single one of those games. Guys, is that not the most Browns thing you've ever heard in your life?
It's a really Browns thing. And more Browns thing, the fact that they got 6 turnovers in the game, so it couldn't pull out the win.
That's unbelievable. I actually saw a stat that whenever a team, since 1999, whenever teams have a +5 turnover differential, they're 132, 4, and 1. The Browns are responsible for 2 of those losses, and 1, the only tie, obviously.
So I was actually at a strip of bars here in Nashville, and there actually is a huge Browns bar called the Doghouse. It's actually a really cool bar, but I didn't
you mean it's called the Toilet Bowl?
No, not that I know of. But honestly, though, you have never seen so many Browns fans in one setting. Like I haven't. Like me and my girlfriend were walking by, and we were just like, "Oh my god!" I thought there'd be like 2 Browns fans in the whole of Nashville, and there's like hundreds of people in this bar. But
what?
After the game, I was at a neighboring bar. We see this Browns fan, running back shots, whatever, having a good time. I was like, are you a little upset you guys didn't squeak that one out? No, they were all celebrating.
That's awesome.
They didn't lose, man.
And the way that the game ended off the blocked kick, that they were celebrating immediately after that is like the best thing ever. You know that the Browns fans were sitting at the edge of their seat whenever the game was tied. There was like 5 seconds left, and Big Ben was throwing it deep, like 80 yards away from the end zone. They legitimately still probably thought they were going to lose that game.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that there's a chance that the Browns fans that live in Cleveland might just drive to Nashville for the weekend just to watch the game so they don't have to watch it in Cleveland? It might be a little nicer.
The possibility. It would be nicer.
To me, that's got to be all the Browns fans in the world. We're at that one place last night.
That is unbelievable to me. So, guys, we did it last week. We did a little NFL word association. It was kind of fun. So this week we're going to do it. Just our Week 1 NFL word association recap. So the way this works, I'm just going to say a word. Everybody's going to go around, tell us what the first thing that comes to your mind is, okay? Biggest winner.
Football fans in the Kansas City market.
I was going to say Andy Reid, since he can actually call plays without Nagy.
Chicago Bears defense, because of Khalil Mack. Biggest loser.
Football fans in the Tennessee Titan market.
All fantasy owners that took a shot on McCoy.
Le'Veon Bell. Surprise.
The Falcon offense didn't figure out their biggest problem.
Peterman lasted 3 quarters.
Patrick Mahomes. Disappointment.
The Cowboy offense.
The Cowboys offense.
Deshaun Watson. Impact injuries.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota.
Titans.
Just that's good, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole team.
sorry, Tennessee market.
WTF.
The Falcons.
You like that.
Rolling a rookie. You know, the Project Josh Allen out in the third quarter, down 40, in the rain, to the number 1 turnover defense from last year. Overreaction.
Kamara going to lead the NFL in touchdowns.
Bills are worse than the 2017 Browns.
Tyreek Hill breaks Darren Sproles' record of all-purpose yards. All right, guys. I kind of like that. So
Is it bad I didn't know that Darren Sproles held the record for all-purpose yards?
I had no idea until just now.
You didn't?
Makes sense. but
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it was crazy. That year, well, I mean, he just caught a lot, ran a lot, and got a lot of kick returns, punt returns.
That'll do it.
Okay, punt
So-
returns. Okay, that's a bit more believable now that
Yeah.
you...
Yeah,
Return.
no, you
If
have
we're,
to have
if we're including
the whole
those,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, no, there's no way that he had 2,600 just rushing and receiving.
I didn't say that's a hell of a season. Shit.
No, and it would, honest to God, like right now's NFL would be like probably the hardest to break that record in because they have moved the kickoff up and tinkered with the rules.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be tough. So I kind of liked the surprise of Nathan Peterman because that project is never going to work. And did you hear what McDermott said after the game? We're gonna have to get back and look at the game film. That's the same exact thing he said after the game that he threw 5 picks last year against the Chargers. They said we're gonna have to get and look at the game film, see what we liked and didn't like. Spoiler alert: you didn't like anything. I was sitting on the couch 1,000 miles away, and I can tell you, Nathan Peterman sucks.
Yeah, I'm not an NFL head coach, but I feel like I know what they're going to see on that tape. 'Cause they saw it during the game. It was nothing good.
There's not anything good. Like, they didn't run the ball, they didn't pass the ball. Peterman looked awful. I mean, what are they trying to figure out? Their defense was abysmal. I mean,
No, and does anybody realize that Nathan Peterman's only a second-year player? Like, Nathan Peterman is that bad that last year people didn't even realize that he was a rookie. I mean, the guy is a very, very terrible quarterback.
Yeah, it can't be any worse. So, Drake, you think Peterman's the worst quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah. I think that's a pretty easy thing to say.
Worst quarterback of all time?
Probably. We'll get to that later in the show, though.
Oh, that's a pretty enticing thought. You got any more thoughts for us?
Yes, I do.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Only Hugh Jackson could break a 17-game losing streak and still not pick up a win. What's worse than losing to the Browns on opening day? Having to see that one on the far right all season as a constant reminder that your team could not outsmart Hugh Jackson. Start off the year with a +5 turnover margin, and the Browns still lost. Teams that have that margin, 132, 4-1, since 1999. Half those losses and the sole tie belong to the Browns. TIErod Taylor, you made it official. You will forever be TIErod. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in a game for 1/8 of the teams in the NFL. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 7th team's a charm. What's the only thing that can beat a first half Khalil Mack? A second half Aaron Rodgers. What do you call 8 hours of really bad product of groups of people trying to chase a ring that will never get it? 2 answers. Lord of the Rings and the Dolphins and Titans game on Sunday. In not so surprising NBA news, Luol Deng signed to play in Minnesota with Tom Thibodeau. I'm looking into my crystal ball, and I see 10,000 wind sprints, 6-hour defensive practices, and a lower body injury in his near future. D. Rose, Jimmy Butler, Luol Deng, Taj Gibson. You trade Karl Anthony Towns to New York for Joakim Noah, and this team could have won 60 games 6 years ago. Tibbs, the Chip Kelly of the NBA. Tibbs, go get your guy. Nate Peterman, Sean McDermott has to get another look. Jimmy G studied the wrong type of game film this offseason, and we could tell. And there's a new book out this week. It's titled How to Gamble $800,000 a Week and Lose. And it was written by Le'Veon Bell. So, guys, I kind of hinted on it there. Do you think that the Le'Veon Bell thing, do you think that that hurt him at all? Sitting out week 1 and having James Conner go for more yards than what he had all last season?
Like, hurt his feelings, or do you think it hurt him, like, in terms of getting a bigger deal next year?
Bigger deal next year.
I think it did hurt him a little bit, yeah, because that does show that running back is a focal point of the offense. But we knew that, because we saw Daniel Williams do the same shit.
Yeah,
so,
but, I mean, that was then, though. This is, like, right before he gets that deal.
Yeah, I know, but, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. For his feelings, no, he probably didn't give a shit.
No, I'm all about players getting their money, going doing their thing, but he gambled, he lost. We all know all Steelers running backs are gonna eat, and now he's just losing $850,000 a week. He gambled on the holdout, and he's losing really bad, and he's already lost the respect from the media and his players.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just not good all around. Probably the worst gamble I've seen. Because you're looking at a guy who comes off this season, yeah, he makes his $16 million, what have you, this season, and he goes in the offseason and he's going to get paid. Like, he is going to get paid. It's not going to be by the Steelers. But now you look at it, and people, GMs, their shelf life might not be long enough to remember the D'Angelo Williams thing, how he came in and dominated the offense. Same thing with LeGarrette Blount. But now this is fresh, right in everybody's head, week 1, biggest story, bad. Very bad look for Lev. I think this is going to hurt the amount of money that he gets. So, guys, we'll go ahead and talk week 2 college football games. And we actually had some pretty good games. Stanford was able to hold off USC in a game that would have made all Big Ten coaches smile, 17-3. Guys, what were your thoughts about this game?
Well, during the football show, I picked Stanford to make the playoff. But my whole thought behind that was Bryce Love was just going to go off every game. Well, week 1, we see him not go off at all. This past week, he had below 100 rushing yards. And if Costello can just stay, not even consistent, just stay, strong at quarterback
just competent.
field. To stay
just
competent. Stanford's be a hard team to beat.
Oh, yeah.
They play a big but don't big defense. Like, they only had 13 more yards than USC did. But when it came time to stop them, they stopped them. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking Stanford's going to win the Pac-12 after this showing. And just the last 2 weeks, they've been playing very, very well. And on top of that, like USC, they just did not execute at all. I mean, they got to Stanford's 46 times. It has one field goal to show for it. Like you said, Stanford's D was kind of Patriots-like. They let up some yards, but they did not. I mean, they bend, but they didn't break.
Right. Yeah. And talk about Stanford. Bryce Love is always going to get his, with the exception of probably 2 games in the last 4 years. But you see this team growing and becoming more than just Bryce Love, which is extremely scary to think about if you have to play Stanford. And with USC, they have so much talent on that field. JT Daniels is going to be good. But he's young and he's inexperienced, but the talent's there. So, I mean, he's not going to compete for anything great this year, but next year, this USC team could be very good if they stick with JT Daniels. But right now, Stanford, that's going to be a hard out in the Pac-12. So we talked about last week. We broke down the game. Leighton, you actually picked this as an upset from last week. Herm Edwards gets the statement win that he needs in week 2 with a walk-off field goal to beat number 15 Michigan State 16-13. Are you dead set that Arizona State's a top 25 team?
Whenever I picked them to win this side of the Pac-12, I said that it win because Herm Edwards is going to bring a swagger there and turn the program around overnight. Like, the play go 100 Icon football. And during that game, the third quarter, they were down, and things weren't going their way at all. They never saw a team get down on themselves. They just kept pushing and playing hard, and they won the game. I do think this is a top 25 team, but they're light years away from being a playoff team. Like, this team is not going to make the playoff, win the playoff.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. I would definitely put them in the top 25, but I'm not going any farther than that. I mean, I just said that USC had terrible execution. Michigan State should have won this game easily. They had 3 possessions within their opponent's 7 and had 6 points to show for it. I mean, you got to execute. You got to put a team away. But hats off to Arizona State and Herm Edwards. They're looking good.
Yeah, they are looking good. And honestly, probably this year, one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch has been Manny Wilkins. The guy is a stud. I was watching this game last week, and he just made every play that he needed to win. He didn't make every play he needed to blow this team out. He just did enough to win. And he had 400 total yards, and this guy is the obvious team leader. I mean, he is out there, and he conducts the offense very well, and he's extremely athletic. I know last year I watched him run down the field, pump fake a guy. The guy tried to go down at his knees, so he hurdled him. I mean, so the guy can make plays, and he's fun to watch with his feet, and he has grown so much as a passer, it's not even funny. And whenever you couple that with a wide receiver core that is absolutely phenomenal at Arizona State, which is kind of odd and bizarre to think about with Herm Edwards, because we usually think Herm Edwards, he's going to get his grandmama Larry Johnson and run him 700 times before the season's over. They actually have the number 1 draft prospect at wide receiver. So, I agree with you guys. I don't think they're going to be that top 4 playoff team, but I think that this team, will see them at some point in the top 15, maybe even top 10. This team's good. I think that they're going to be fun to watch, but I don't think they're going to be that playoff team that we're going to hope to see Herm at someday. So we'll get to we'll actually stay with week 2. Guys, what takeaways from week 2 did you see? Any teams, coaches, players really impressed you or disappointed?
Well, Kentucky has to impress. I mean, we've been hearing, I guess, for years that they might be okay, and they actually beat a Florida team, and that's just amazing. I can't even understand how it probably feels to be a Florida fan. Sorry, JD. I'm really worried about
Florida has never lost to Kentucky in your life. Think about that.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I was actually at that same bar. I mean, a lot of crazy characters were coming in, and this guy looked like a tool, but he said he got in a fight with some Kentucky fans last night or the night before, just because they beat Florida. I was like, I know, man, that's got to feel bad. But anyway, I'm also worried about Texas and Florida State. Texas didn't impress, and Florida State didn't impress as well. I think both of them are not very good teams. And one last shout out to Texas A&M. Almost should have actually won that game against Clemson.
Yeah, Ben, just to piggyback off you, my big takeaway is that Jimbo Fisher is a really good football coach.
Really good.
Imagine that.
After seeing what Florida State's done, just getting embarrassed by Virginia Tech week 1, barely beating Samford last week, and Jimbo Fisher almost has Texas A&M almost being fucking Clemson. Like, damn, like Florida State messed up there.
Duh. Like, why would you bring Willie Taggart in? Did you know that Willie Taggart, I don't know if he's like 2 games above 500 or a sub 500 coach. And then every place he's went, boom, got a better job. I don't know how he's done this.
He's
it's
figured
unbelievable
it out.
To me.
He's like Peterman. They both got to be charismatic, charming. They're just getting jobs.
Peterman has to be charming. Work hard in practice.
He had one of Oregon's worst years in like the last 15 seasons. Boom, Florida State job. Gets to replace Jimbo Fisher, who's probably one of the top 5 coaches in the NCAA. But no, hats off to Jimbo. You look at that game, they should have won. They should have won. They got hosed. They did get hosed. And there's no
play going out of the end zone,
Yeah, there's no and if ors about it. Bad call by the officials. I always, whenever it comes to the NCAA, I think it's all about who's going to get you the most money. And they might have been in that official's ear a little bit. But also, big big takeaway this week from Mississippi State. This team is going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out for Bama, Auburn, LSU. They're going to give them hell. This dude, Nick Fitzgerald, so he had been the starter previously, had to sit out week 1. He's a bona fide stud. He's like 6'5", 240 pounds. He ran for 150 yards and rushed for 150 yards. My biggest thing with Mississippi State coming into this year was how would he respond from injury and having to miss week 1. Responded in a big way. Third game of 150 and 150. I really, really like this team. I love the offensive-minded head coach and Joe Moorhead. I think that I don't know if they're going to be the team that wins the SEC, but they're going to give those 3 top dogs hell this year, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Do you think there's a quarterback controversy already in Clemson? Do you think that's all going to work out?
Absolutely, there's a quarterback controversy. I watched Trevor Edwards come in and throw probably the prettiest ball I'd seen all weekend.
I mean, he's just got so much talent.
Trevor Lawrence, that's my
I know you. Yeah, and you've got all the talent in the world, and we knew that. And isn't it crazy? I was thinking the other day, they're going with this 2-quarterback system now. That used to be so commonplace, and I feel like football's definitely gotten away with that the last few years. Like, you don't really hear of that as much anymore. Yeah,
and what's funny is that 2 of the best programs in the NCAA are using it right now. And it's Alabama and Clemson are both going with it, and they're kind of sticking with it even if the game's close. I think about it's going to come a time where they're going to have to unleash Trevor Lawrence. They're going to have to bring him in because he is the better option. Kelly Bryant does a fine job. Kelly Bryant is the leader of the team. He's the emotional leader of the team. But whenever you look at who's your best quarterback and who gives you the chance to win, it's Trevor Lawrence. The guy is an animal. So we'll get to Week 3 preview here, guys. Headline 3 top 25 matchups, including an SEC showdown of 2 top 12 ranked teams. We'll go ahead and give you some winners here. We have Boise State, number 17 ranked team, heading to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a -3.5 favorite. Guys, where are we looking at in this game?
I'm going to bet the over.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I
great offenses.
No, Oklahoma State's going to win that game. Boise State ranked high. They've looked good. They looked good last season. I got coming back. But Oklahoma State, I got to go with Oklahoma. And offensively, 2-hour stop at home.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go against you. I'm going to go with Boise State. They, like you said, Boise State put up over 800 yards of total offense. Oklahoma State always is a good offense. Just what happens with Oklahoma State. But Boise State did have a top 20 defense from last year. But like you said, there should be no lack of scoring. It's going to be who can ever get to 45, 50 first. So.
Oh yeah, it's a race to 100 in this game. These teams are going to put up numbers, but you look at the quarterbacks, and it's a lot different. I mean, you have a guy at Oklahoma State, Taylor Cornelius, senior quarterback. He's going to throw his 100th career pass this week, his 100th career passing attempt. And then you look at a guy like Blake Ripien, senior quarterback of Boise State. He's going to make his 40th career start. So I'm going to go with the experience. I'm going to go with the guy that, in a high-scoring game, who I could probably trust a little more to be a little more careful with the ball. And I think Ripien will not make that mistake that Cornelius potentially could. I mean, you look at a guy like Cornelius, thrown 3 interceptions in his last 2 games. He's played South Alabama and Missouri State. So it's not like he's playing powerhouses. I'll go ahead and take Boise State as a road dog. I actually love the underdogs this week. So game number 2, Ohio State, number 4 ranked, travels as a 13.5 favorite to TCU, who's ranked number 15. Ohio State will actually be without Urban Meyer. It's the last game of his ridiculous 3-game suspension. So, guys, who do we have in this game?
I think this game's going to be close. TCU's always a good defense, but I'm not getting too cute with it. I'm just going to go with the Ohio State to win that game.
Yeah, I agree with you, the Ohio State. I think it could be a close game, but I think Ohio State will be too talented in the end.
Rarely do I fall in love with a bad quarterback that's like, I'm not going to say bad, but just not a great guy. He just has that kind of odd it factor. Whenever he needs to score, he scores. And Sean Robinson, I watched him last week. Yes, he was playing SMU. Yes, SMU's defense is terrible. But I think that him with Gary Patterson having to go coach against a guy like, Greg Schiano and Ryan Day, who, Schiano is kind of a dipshit, and not even Tennessee wanted him after they didn't win an SEC game. So I think TCU is going to pull this off. And, you always have that emotional aspect with young kids, and if this game's close heading down to the fourth quarter, a lot of these guys, they were recruited by Urban Meyer. They came there to play for Urban Meyer. They get into that huddle, 7-point game, 6 minutes left. They're looking around, and their guy is not there. I think that's going to be a big factor for, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. And I'm going to have to actually lean with the Horned Frogs. I love Gary Patterson, and I think they're going to pull off that upset, especially at home. So, guys, we'll go ahead and head down to Auburn, number 7 ranked. They host LSU, who's ranked 12th. Auburn opens as a -10 favorite. Guys, LSU was able to pull off the upset last year. Do you think they can do it again?
I really don't, and it's because of what I've seen out of Auburn's defense so far this season. Week 1, they shut down Jake Brown and Patterson. Last week, they let up 9 points to some shit school. But when looking at the Washington game and looking at this game, to be honest with you, I think Auburn's going to rout LSU. I don't think it should be honestly being that close. And to get turned off, Finn Fletcher would say, take him to the shed.
He'll take him to the shed.
Yeah,
Fletcher loved that.
I think Auburn would cover the 10-point spread decently easy.
Wow. I like it. But I'm going against you. I'm going to go with LSU. I'm going to go with Bar. Isn't that crazy that this is like 2 actually good quarterbacks? When you think of LSU Auburn, you're not going to think you're going to have 2 good quarterbacks. Like,
I know.
At least
unbelievable.
competent quarterbacks. It's kind of wild to think about it.
You're thinking the most offensive production in this game is like a $120 rushing yards off of 40 attempts.
Right, but no, I mean, Auburn's got one of the best quarterbacks in the game, which I could definitely see them winning. This is actually kind of a toss-up for me, but it's more of a gut pick, and I'm going with LSU.
Yeah, I think whenever you line up against an Ed Orgeron team, you're going to get smacked in the mouth. And, you're looking at Auburn last year. I was actually hot on this upset. This was one of my bold predictions from last year. So life's come full circle, and I'm going to make it again. LSU, Ed Orgeron, I said that they'd drop that game to Miami week 1, but bounce back and have a great season. They absolutely dominated Miami, who I think is just as good, if not better, a team than Auburn is. Jared Stidham had his worst game of the season last year, 171 total yards for this guy, 9 of 26 passing. This LSU team has only gotten better because once Ed Orgeron gets his recruits there, everybody loves the man. He's getting high-level guys every single week. Now he has a quarterback. I absolutely love LSU this week. All right, so I actually went with a clean sweep of dogs there. But, guys, do you see any top 25 teams on upset alert this week?
With the exception of Boise State, Oklahoma State, I don't really. I think Utah-Washington would be a close game, but I think Washington would win that game. And I want to say maybe Texas over USC, just because Texas has to win that game. They were any shot at being something this season. They have to win that game.
Yeah, I agree with you that I don't even – it's not like last week where I even had 2 for you. I really don't have any – I mean, I guess I could see Ole Miss scoring a lot of points against Alabama, but their defense can't stop, like, children from getting to the end zone. I mean, hell, SIU scored, 40 points on them?
Yeah, had like 600 yards of offense.
Right, exactly. And I was going to pick BYU maybe over Wisconsin, but BYU's
I actually liked that
a
little bit.
Well, I mean, they did beat Arizona, but they lost to Wisconsin. I mean, they lost their starting quarterback, but BYU, it always feels like they can win a game. They can beat that team.
Tyler Magnum got hurt?
I think he's questionable for today's game. I mean, next week.
That's a bummer. Because I did like BYU a little bit, if Magnum's healthy. I really didn't have one. I was thinking maybe Texas over USC. I looked at the spread, and Texas is even favored. So I really can't even go off on a limb and call that an upset. I think this week's going to be pretty chalk with the exception of, Boise State, TCU, and LSU. I like all those dogs. I think this is going to be a really fun week, though, to watch college football. So, guys, we'll actually get to our interview here. We actually have Kyle Driscoll, fresh off of his win for freestyle cage fighting. He is now the title holder there. So, guys, Hope you enjoy.
All right, Dippers, today we have a very, very awesome guest, freestyle cage fighting champion. Actually, new champion as of yesterday, the 145-pound champ, Kyle Driscoll. Welcome to the kennel.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
So less than 24 hours since your victory over Shakir Millikamp for the 145-pound strap. How are we feeling right now?
I feel good, man. I feel really good. So, really good sense of accomplishment. I'm happy with it. Body sore, but just enjoying some time off now.
Yeah, I would imagine that you would be a little sore. So this camp, it came with a little bit of adversity. If you would, go ahead and tell the Dippers a little bit about that and how you were able to overcome it.
Yeah, so like 4 weeks out from this fight, I was in a sparring session and my knee popped. And I was like, man, that's no way. I got this title fight in 4 weeks. So I go see my doctor, Dino. And I'm like, Dino, my knee, like, dude, I can't pull from this fight. So we get MRIs, we get it looked at, and I tore my LCL in my left knee. And he was like, luckily you don't need your LCL, you just got to strengthen your hamstring. So all I could really do for like 2 weeks was somewhat of boxing and these deadlifts to try and strengthen my hamstring. So there's 2 weeks, very crucial weeks in a fight camp, that I couldn't even train. So we got to the fight, and I had to block that out. It was actually a lot of adversity to go through. It was the first time in a camp I've gone through adversity like that. It adds to that sense of accomplishment that I still got the job done.
Right. That is pretty impressive because it seems like, especially now in MMA, anytime any guys get any kind of injury, they almost immediately just pull out of the fight, especially whenever it is so close, like 4 weeks away. What did that ever cross your mind?
No, I was because as a kid growing up, it's just something I wanted was a belt for MMA. And I had this opportunity, and it's just a small step in the journey. It's nothing too crazy, but it meant a lot to me. And I knew if the knee couldn't get any worse, I'm going to fight. So it never crossed my mind. It was just, tell me how we're going to stay in this. You know what I mean?
Right, that's an awesome mindset to have. So I saw the video of the weigh-ins, and things got a little toasty. He kind of got in your face, and you retaliated a little bit, but, you kept your cool. Do you like to get your opponents a little worked up before you step into the cage, or was that only because he had come at you?
See, I don't. I went into weigh-ins with the intention, we're going to have a good, close stare down, shake his hand, we'll handle our business tomorrow. And it was like the second I got off the scale and it was time to face off, it wasn't even like he wanted to get my face. He was trying to push my face backwards with his face. Like he was pushing me back. And he brought out that side in me. I didn't get emotional in the fight, but, I just cut to 145 pounds, and you think you're going to get in my face like that. Like, that's why I let him know what was up. I'm a fighter,
Yeah, you definitely did let him know what was up. How did you actually get into fighting? I'd seen that you had a successful amateur wrestling career, but how did you actually make that transition?
Crazy story. When I was like 16, I started going to this MMA gym after wrestling practice. I was just in love with it, and all these pro fighters at the time were there. And I would just go wrestle with them. Then I started hitting the bag, hitting mitts, kind of sparring with them. I was 17, went to corner someone, and this guy from Texas pulled out, but he sold a lot of tickets. Our guy from Oklahoma pulled out on a guy from Texas. This guy from Texas sold a lot of tickets. They're like, we need a guy at 170. I was in the middle of wrestling season was about to start. I was 17. You have to be 18. So I handed my wallet to my coach. I was like, I'll take the fight. They were like, how old are you? I said, I'm 18. I took a year off. I said I was born in 93. Commission looked at each other like, all right, well, you're in the second fight. You fight in 30 minutes. So they had to mold this terrible mouthpiece. I had these shorts that went way past my knees. This guy came out, he was like 32 years old. I was 17, had a full beard. They locked me in the cage and like, fighter, are you ready? And I couldn't swallow. There's like a log in my throat. I was like, dude, what did you just get yourself into? And that wrestler instinct came out, and I choked the dude out in a minute and a half, and I fell in love.
Wow, that's actually an awesome story, and hearing that story there kind of just does not surprise me at all that you didn't pull out of this last fight after your injury.
Yeah, same mindset.
Yeah, and that's going to honestly pay dividends later in your career. So recently you did switch camps and began training at AKA. What was the biggest factor that played into that for you going there?
I was out here training, and I had this LFA fight with a good opponent. I probably could have got a title shot, so I would have won. Lost a split decision, and I just kind of reevaluated my life. I was like, you're 23 years. I was 22 at the time. So you're 22 years old. You can go all in towards this dream, or you can kind of just be training at a local gym. And I didn't have much money in my pocket, man. I just went all in towards this dream. I'm 23 years old. I figured, like, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now. So I'm making it happen. Good things are coming from it. Self-belief's a powerful frequency, so things are lining up for me now. But it was a big leap of faith.
Right. So did they reach out to you, or did you just basically take the chance and just pack up and go?
A guy grew up wrestling with Kyle Kletchman. He's an MMA fighter now. He's 2-0. He just finished his wrestling career at Oklahoma State. We'd wrestled together, and we kind of talked. We talked a little bit. He was like, I think I'm going to go to AKA. You're trying to live together. I was like, I think at the time we talked about rent. I looked at my bank account. I had like $100 more than what I was going to have to pay for the first month's rent. No idea how I was going to figure it out. I was like, all right, dude, let's do it. And I went out there, and it's prospered into what it is now.
That's awesome. It does seem like it's going to be paying off. So at AKA, they might be most notable for Daniel Cormier fighting out of there. What is it like to be able to learn from arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time?
Dude, it's awesome. And it's, DC he's like a big brother to me. We became pretty close. And just being around him, man, like seeing his energy, the energy he puts off, just day to day in the gym, it's super powerful. You're around that. So when you're at the end of a hard practice and, you might hit that wall, and then you look over and there's Daniel Cormier still pushing. There's Khabib still pushing. And me personally, I make sure I match their tempo. If we're in a bike session, if we're at wrestling, I match their tempo because obviously what they're doing is the right formula. So I have what it takes. I put in the work, and it's seeing those guys how they work. It's like, damn, that's all it takes is hard work and self-belief.
Right. So you actually just mentioned Khabib there. As we know, he's getting ready for the Conor McGregor fight. Have you actually been wrestling with him at all? They say that he is arguably the best wrestler in martial arts. Have you got a chance to roll with him?
So his fight for what was supposed to be Tony Ferguson, Coach Hogg came up to me. So Khabib will spot 5 rounds of a new guy every round, tough guys. And Coach Hogg came up to me. Coach Hogg, Javier Mendez, took me in under his wing big time. And he was like, hey, this camp, you're going to be Khabib's part of his camp. So you're going to be sparring Khabib. I was usually like round 2, 3, or 4 in his camps. So I was live sparring Khabib, like black room at AKA sparring is, you gain experience in there. You're fighting. And, when you walk in there and you look across and you're about to fight Khabib, it makes it different when you get to a cage and you look at a local dude and you're like, who are you? But yes, when that man gets on top of you, it's a nasty thing. And he has this little trick. We would be sparring. If he got me down, that figure 4 he does on your knees, well, when you're sparring, he'll get that right over your shin guards. So there's zero hope of moving. And he just Russian bears you to death.
Yeah, Russian bear. And the videos have actually surfaced of him actually wrestling bears whenever he was a kid, so that's actually kind of wild.
Yeah, but that's what I call him. It feels like a bear is on top of you, and he's not going to he doesn't get tired, he just doesn't stop.
And do you think that being able to spar with a guy like that has helped you in your career?
Absolutely. game, my fight IQ, but mentally, like I said, like when you walk into the cage room at AK, like you know you're next. It's the same exact butterflies as in a fight, and I replayed that at training. So I'll be in this other room, and one of the coaches will say, "Kyle, you're up," and I'll make the walk to the cage room. But at training, I have the same nerves, and when I walk into the cage, there's Habib Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean? That's different on the psyche. That's different on the mind. You got to really be ready to perform, and that's what's changed so much about sparring Habib.
Right. I think even more impressive than your fighting career is that you're actually able to pronounce that last name. I've tried for years and I still cannot master it. So you're the 145-pound freestyle cage fighting champion. What is next for you?
I've been in contact. I hope I don't jinx myself here, but there's a Bellator November 30th in Backerville, and I can sell a lot of tickets in Backerville. I have multiple target markets there. I have a huge fan base from college in Dallas, Texas. I have a huge fan base still at OU in Norman, where I went to school. A bunch of OKC, a bunch of Tulsa. So I think I have a good shot at getting on that card. And, you know, I'll fight anyone in the top 10. I don't care who I fight, really, you know. November 30th, Bellator, that's what I want.
I hope you get it. Have they contacted you about a possible opponent or anything like that, or has it just kind of been, hey, do you want to fight on this card?
No, I had a good conversation with the matchmaker, and then we kind of left it where it was until after this title fight I had yesterday. So I'm probably going to shoot him a message when we hang up, just because my mind stays on business, and now we got to figure out the next business move. So probably shoot him a message and be like, let's figure something out. Let's get something together.
That's awesome. Always working. You know, just finished your fight yesterday. Looking for that next fight already. Says a lot about your mindset. Kyle, thanks for coming in, and good luck with your next fight.
All right, guys. So thank you, Kyle. We definitely enjoyed that interview. I had a lot of fun with it. So, guys, be looking for him as he makes his come up in his MMA career. So, guys, we'll switch gears here and go ahead and get on some MLB chatter. We updated you last week that Ohtani's velocity during his start had actually dropped quite a bit between the second and third inning. Then it gets reported later that he was recommended to have Tommy John surgery. Our boy, Shohei, responded by hitting 2 dingers the next night. So, guys, what the hell's going on in L.A.?
I think I figured it out.
Let's hear it.
You're the only person in the world.
They want him to win Rookie of the Year. That's
They want him to. They want him to win Rookie of the Year.
That's it. Well,
He's going all in.
Why else could it
He's
possibly
risking
be?
it all.
Risking it all.
You know, he has good starting pitcher numbers. Has great for rookie great batting numbers. I mean, hell, if he continued to hit like this, he'd Rookie of the Year. Fuck, they will put us.
I wonder if his contract has any, incentives in there for this. Because whenever they showed that he's hit, I knew that he had played well all season, but he'd been hurt so damn much, it really didn't matter. I saw the other day, he had like 19 home runs. Like, that's unreal for, a rookie who plays very, very sparingly and had been hurt a lot of the season. Dude's an animal. And I would like to know if his contract has incentives for Rookie of the Year.
It probably does. I'd imagine.
It definitely could, now that you guys are saying that, because all I was going to say, it has to be Ohtani's camp now. I mean, the Angels have to want him to get surgery because now he's just a player. I mean, you can't even play the outfield with an elbow that shitty, and you got to have Tommy John's. Like, I think you guys are a little bit right. I know you were kind of joking, but I'm pretty sure it's just Ohtani wants to be out there. He wants to play, and hell, he might have some incentives for Rookie of the Year or something like that.
How big of a power move would it be that, like, 2 months down the road, we see that Ohtani, it comes out that he had like this huge incentive for Rookie of the Year, ends up nailing it down, like postponed Tommy John surgery that he was recommended to have like 4 months ago just for that $4 million pay bump. That would be like an all-time power move in baseball history.
It's actually the American dream.
Yes, it is. It really is. But I think I'm on that. I think that's going to be our thing from now on with Ohtani. He just wants that Rookie of the Year.
They want
and by golly, He
This
should get
doesn't
it.
make any sense. Like this doesn't happen. Like this used to happen back when like Sandy Koufax threw. Like doctors told Sandy Koufax, you can't throw anymore, or you're going to be like debilitated the rest of your career. So he goes around and throws the most pitches that he's ever thrown in his whole career in a season. Like next season. Like this is like
might not even matter to you, right? Might not
They
even
tried
matter.
they tried the same shit with Richie Incognito with concussions, and he turned out just fine.
Yes. There we go. Touche.
It's so odd, but I hope it works out for him. If he can win Rookie of the Year, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
So guys, I talked about it earlier. We're kind of in that home stretch, and by kind of, we are in the middle of the home stretch. Last 20 games of the MLB season is the way I always like to think of it. Everybody in the MLB has less than 20 games left on their schedule, and we have actually half the divisions in baseball. There's two teams within 2.5 games of each other at the top, and we'll go with the NL. We'll talk about the only excitement in the NL, or in the AL, excuse me. The only excitement in the AL, and that's the AL West. It seems, honestly, like no matter what winning streak the Astros put together, no matter how hot they get, the A's have been a constant 2.5 games behind them. They actually don't play each other for the remainder of the season. But guys, who's taking this division home?
I'm gonna go with the Astros. They're finally getting healthy. They have a luxury of great starting pitchers. They have tons of pitchers in the bullpen. The Astros are not going to lose the division to the Athletics.
Yeah, Layton, I'm going to not be too cute with this one either. I'm going to go with the Astros. The Astros actually only play 3 games against a potential playoff team, with 3 against the Diamondbacks. They get to play a lot of the AL Central. They get to play the Orioles, the Blue Jays. I'm just going to go with the Astros because they are by far the better team. Simple as that.
The Astros are a way better team. But for some odd reason, I've been on this A's team because it almost seems like they're just that odd team that comes in and takes it away. And I don't really know what one thing I can put it on. I mean, maybe they're going to just ride the pin for the whole rest of the regular season. Matt Chapman's going to heat up, and this offense is going to go through the roof. I don't know what it is. But for this team to come from where it was to start the season, to fight all the way back to 2.5 games out, 20 games left, I feel like they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to get it done. And the Astros, ever since Altuve and the boys have been back, they've been hot. They've been having fun. We see the meme all over the internet. Every single night it's another one. And the A's are still right there on their ass, 2.5 games away, no matter how many games they're winning. And I see the Astros dropping some games late that they probably shouldn't. They have to play the Mariners, which the Mariners have basically had them dead in the rights the last, I think they're winners of 6 of their last 7. So I'm not going to be surprised if the A's win. I'm picking the A's to win. I've kind of been on that for a while, and I'm not going to come off yet, especially with how hot the Stros have been, and they really haven't gained any ground. So, guys, we'll go ahead and stick with the West, and we'll go to the NL. So 3 teams are in the mix. The Rockies currently lead the Dodgers by 0.5 game, and the D-backs have fallen to 2.5 games back after a 3-7 finish in their last 10 games. Each one of these teams have 3 games against each other. We actually have a 3-game set in Colorado that kicks off tomorrow. Guys, who's winning this division?
Well, I'm just going to go with the D-backs. It doesn't really make sense with them, sliding here, but just on paper, they have the best team. They're only 2.5 back. I think it's going to be the D-backs and the Dodgers, and I just don't have any faith in the Rockies. I know they've been playing well. They're a good team. That's just, when I look at the teams, it should go D-backs, Dodgers, Rockies.
How on paper do Diamondbacks have the best team in your mind?
Best pitching staff, basically.
Oh, by
They're
far
going to have
the
the
best
best
pitching.
pitching staff.
They do.
And they have the best player out of any 3 of those teams.
That they do as well. And they also have, they have some other good complementary pieces, so I am definitely going to go with the D-backs, the best team.
I've said this basically for most of the season now. That Dodgers are going to win the NL West. They're going to get together with the way Rich Hill is pitching, with the way Ken Kershaw is pitching. Their man Machado, they're going to find a way to put the wins together and win the division. Can they just win the Coors Field the Rockies team who don't want to fuck with right now, and basically beat the doors off them. And did you know that in 103 games, Clayton Kershaw have been given 4 runs or more support? He is 103-0.
That's crazy. You remember that season that Rick Porcello won a Cy Young just because he had 8 runs per game of support? Did not actually have a perfect record like Clayton Kershaw would have, a real Cy Young pitcher.
You're so butthurt by that Rick Porcello Cy Young. I don't understand it. He's not in the National League.
He's not even good. That's why I don't like it. Only good players should win awards. There's incentives for that on their contracts. They should get paid appropriately. I'm going with the D-backs. They've fallen off a little bit lately, but they get to play the Rockies 6 times, so they kind of hold their own destiny, and they actually get a 3-game set against the Dodgers. So they hold their own destiny. Their last series is actually against the Padres, so that should be a pretty easy walk to the finale. I just really love the pitching. I think that, non-pitcher Paul Goldschmidt is the best player in that division. So I really like him. I don't want to play him in the playoffs sitting here as a Cubs fan, but I'm going to go with the D-backs, and I actually think that the Rockies are going to get that second wild card spot. I've kind of been on that for a while, so I'm going to stick with it. So this one kind of hits close to home for Rocket and I. We're going to go to the NL Central. The Cubs lead by 2.5 games to the Brewers after a very, very taxing weekend in the nation's capital. A lot of odd rain delays, and then they would fire it back up just to call it again. So the Cubs actually open a 3-game set in Wrigley tonight to the Brewers. Who's going to win this division?
Well, I'm going to go with the Cubs. I have to go with the Cubs. They're my team. They're the best team in that division. Could be the best team in the NL when healthy. Some pitching concerns for sure, but they're going to win this division. And I don't want to just throw it out there because we didn't really talk about it, but I don't think the Cardinals even are a threat at this point.
Yeah, you guys got basically locked up. You have 13 of the last 20 games at home. You have like a 62% win percentage at home. And they're all against NL Central teams. 2 of those teams being the Pirates and the Reds. You guys got this locked up.
Yep, Cubs by 100. They're going to take it home. Do you guys think that the Cardinals have a shot, or do you think that they should be like a focused wild card team? And more importantly, we'll even ask this: do you guys think the Cardinals will be in the playoffs this year?
That's what I was going to say, because if I'm picking the Dodgers to win the NL West, the Rockies are, besides one last season, playing really good baseball. The Cardinals aren't even locked to make the playoffs at this point.
No.
And probably thinks they're not going to.
I don't think they are. I'm definitely giving them a chance, okay? But I definitely don't see them getting that last spot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard-pressed to do it. I think that the Brewers or them are going to get one. Whichever wheel falls off first, that's the one that obviously is going to be out. But I like the Rockies. I really do. The Rockies, like, you just look at them, and you just instantly in your head think wild card. Like, anytime I see the Rockies logo, I think wild card. So I just have them penciled in there already. I'll go with a 40-60 chance that they're going to be left out. I think there's a bigger chance that they'll be left out than actually make it. So, guys, we'll go ahead and transition to one of my favorite segments. It's called B-Reich, the Hot Take Detective. In case you guys don't know, B-Reich only watches sports, at least in my eyes, so he can try to prove me wrong. For years, anytime I come up with a masterful take, B-Reich tries to shoot it out of the air. So today I have 3 takes for him, all with what I saw from the first week of the NFL regular season, and B-Reich will tell me whether or not that my hot takes are correct. So we'll start off with number 1. Ryan Fitzpatrick and his dominant performance to pick up a win over a divisional opponent won him the Buccaneers starting job.
No, I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. He did impress. He played phenomenal, better than maybe even his mother thought he could. It's just Fitzpatrick's no team's future. I mean, what is he, like 36, 38, something like that? He's been on tons of teams. We know what Fitzpatrick is. He's a guy, for some reason, that believes in his arm talent more than he should, and it'll lead to one of these games every once in a while. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers simply have to keep on trying to play Winston until they're done with him, and then they have to go out and get another guy, a guy that can actually be the franchise, and that's not Fitzpatrick.
Do you think that if he picks up a win this week against the Eagles, he gets that job?
I really don't think so. I think you got to see what Winston has because you got to move on from him, or you can't keep on putting him on the payroll. I mean, there's still a chance that Winston is the future, so it doesn't really make sense for them to go with Fitzpatrick at this point. So I do like Fitz. I
love Fitz. 1 month from today's show, we'll actually get back to this because this is one of the hot takes that we have to come back to because I really think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to hold that job. I think that they look at Jameis Winston as all but a headache at this point, and I think they're going to roll with him. So we'll get to take number 2. Patrick Mahomes. He's the second best player in the AFC West, despite having 2 career starts.
And again, I love Mahomes. He was my favorite guy coming out of that draft, but you just simply can't put him above even Derek Carr yet. In a pretty shitty year, Derek Carr had 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. Obviously, Mahomes is going to at least have to put together a whole season for me to be that impressed with him. Though he did better than I expected, but Derek Carr is still ahead of him even in the quarterback hierarchy there. So
I'm going to say that he's going to put together a better season than Case Keenum or Derek Carr's ever had in their career. The only thing that'll be off is the completion percentage. He's not going to complete at a high clip, but he'll be very good. So
that's a bold take all of its own because Derek Carr's had some pretty good seasons. So
no, Derek Carr's been very good, but I think Patrick Mahomes can be better. So I'm 0 for 2 so far. But this third one, I think that if you disagree with this take, I feel like there's a problem. So my third take, Nathan Peterman is the worst quarterback to get 3 starts, at least 3 starts in NFL history. In his 3 career starts, 16 of 24 completions. He has 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. His TD percentage is 2.3, and his interception percentage is 16%. So, Brandon, is Nathan Peterman the worst quarterback to start 3 games in NFL history?
I pride myself on going against conventional wisdom and finding somebody in history.
Dude, you dig deep. You usually dig deep.
I dig so deep for this segment, and I damn did dug. Like I looked at the worst quarterbacks of all time, like rankings. I went all for it all, and just knowing how Peterman is, yeah, it just no. Nobody gives a guy this many shots when he sucks this bad. It just doesn't happen. So you're right. He will go down as the worst quarterback to at least start 3 games.
I love it. You know what? I think Nathan Peterman couldn't start for 4 or 5 college teams. I really do. He's
Probably
bad.
Where did he even go to college?
He started off at University of Tennessee. Wasn't real good there, so he went to Pitt. He's a great story.
People always all the Pitt quarterbacks get picked up for some reason.
Oh yeah. No
real reason, but they get picked up.
Yes, quarterback fact. Ever since Dan Marino went there, he ruined it. Like everybody immediately thinks they're getting the next Dan Marino. Oh, Pitt guy, gotta be the next Dan Marino. So guys, this is our chance to kind of step away from sports, and this is pretty fun. We're gonna play some darts.
Pew, 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 pew. We're playing darts, baby.
In case you guys aren't familiar with it, we each throw 1 dart at the dartboard. It represents something. This time it's gonna be a borderline activity or a sport, and we will debate whether or not the activity or borderline sport is indeed a sport. Leighton C, producer, your throw.
We have a 16, which is bowling.
Ooh, bowling. That's a pretty good one. Mookie Betts is listening to this right now, so you don't talk shit about bowlers.
Mookie, if you're listening, as you know, big fan, feel free to slide into our DMs at the Saucy Pod for a possible interview. We'll slide into yours, but they're not open, unfortunately. But no, this is a tough one. Bowling, it takes balance, it takes strength. I gotta say that bowling is definitely the sport.
So I want to be consistent, though. I mean, we have also said bocce ball and billiards is not sports. And I feel like it takes about the same amount of athletic ability. That's the thing that's keeping me back.
It takes strength and balance.
Bocce ball, you have to have balance because you're drunk half the time. You have to,
That's true.
You have to say, like, standing up.
Same thing with bowling.
Bowling, you are drunk. You're right.
I haven't.
You are.
I haven't
You are
played.
drunk a lot of the time.
I have not bowled sober since I was like 4.
So you started drinking when you were 5?
No, I just didn't go bowling there for a while.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it definitely has. Oh man, what do you think, Drake?
I'm going to break it down for you pretty simple. So you look at bowling. Leighton said that you have to throw the ball hard. I throw the ball hard every time. I pride myself in being able to throw a 6-pound ball over 20 miles an hour. And that's harder than 99% of bowlers out there. Yet, even no matter how hard I throw that damn ball, I get below 100 every single time on my score. And I think that there's a lot of luck involved with bowling. I mean, because, you can hit the pin directly like you want on a shot, and it's still not even knock all the pins down. Just because, there's a lot of physics involved, and it's a lot of luck. I mean, you can knock a pin, and it'll circle and stay upright. Bowling is one of the games that really makes me mad. It takes zero athleticism at all, other than maybe walking up there. I think the kid with the bumpers and the little ramp could beat me, so no.
Well, the kids with the little bumpers and ramps aren't playing the actual game. So here's my issue.
You tell that to a 4-year-old.
I will tell it to a 4-year-old. I don't care. They need to learn. They need to learn quickly. But you said it involves physics. Physics is nothing like. Physics is the opposite of luck. I mean, there are professional bowlers that get strikes every time.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Are you sure you're just not good at it?
Well, professional bowlers, like great bowlers, so nothing changed on a bowling lane, I guess, or an alley. And if you could pick where you wanted to hit the ball, it still might not knock every pin down. Like, sometimes pins go the opposite way. Like, these are all circular objects. Like, your ball could hit the first pin, and it could go a different way than what you're used to. I feel like there's a lot of luck involved. Because most of those guys...
Squared up perfectly, it's going to go down.
And a lot of it's
baseball.
It's about timing, too, because your score is based off of, like, if you get a strike, the next thing is higher if you get multiple strikes in a row. And you could have, a bad round early on, and it kill you more than a brown round late.
Hey, that's just part of the game. I'm going with sport.
Bad.
I was just sport. I think all the things that Drake said is just because he's not good at bowling.
So you think bowling's a sport? What athleticism does it take? Strength?
It does take more athleticism than it does take strength. Because you do, yes, balance.
Absolutely not. We sat here last week and said how Red Rover was not a sport, and Red Rover takes more athleticism than bowling.
But it doesn't, because the best bowler wins the game. In Red Rover, the best athlete didn't win. That was the only reason. I was going to vote yes on Red Rover until I learned that the winner is actually the loser.
Terrible
All right,
guys.
Bowling.
But if it gets mucky on, I'll take it. So, B-Reich, your throw.
We have a 19, which is tractor pull.
Ooh, tractor pull. All right, this takes about as much athleticism as bowling.
This is just like this.
Have you never watched a tractor pull? So what you do is that you load a bunch of weight on usually at your county fair. They put a bunch of weight on the back of just some random object, and you get your tractor on there and you pull it as far as you can, and then your tractor blows up, and then everybody at the fair goes crazy. And
it's just how much your tractor can haul?
Yeah, usually.
And how fast it can go?
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
I'm not saying it's not sweet. Now it sounds very sweet. It sounds like something that's
you've never been to a county fair, have you?
Brandon doesn't understand fun.
I guess I just haven't figured out the whole fun thing. Yeah, dude, it's not a sport. I mean, we don't even have NASCAR as a sport, and this is simply just loading up a big tractor and just yelling at. I'm sure there's a lot of yelling involved.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, no, I'm not going to say that's not fun, and I would love to go to one.
The winner actually gets to kiss their cousin.
When have you gone to a tractor pull?
At the county fair.
Folk. No, I'm going to go with it's not a sport, mainly because that's just ridiculousness.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, it's not a sport. It's basically souped up NASCAR, and you pull something doing it.
No, I love going to a tractor pull. If you guys have never been to one, you'll have a really good time. Absolutely not a sport, but it is. It's one of the more fun times you'll have, especially if you don't Like if you're able to enjoy a moment for what it's worth and not like overthink it, it's awesome. Tractor pulls are fun, not a sport. So, my throw.
We have a bullseye. Bullseye is badminton.
Is this only like our third? This is our third or fourth bullseye. That's pretty impressive.
Good throw, Drake.
Badminton.
Ooh.
It's very similar to one of my favorite activities, volleyball. But it takes a lot less athleticism because you do have a racket. You look at a good badminton player, you'll probably think that he walked right out of math club. I'm going to go with a definite no. It takes hand-eye coordination, but it's badminton. Come on, guys.
Did you say that volleyball's not a sport?
I said it was a fun activity.
You're implying it's not a sport?
Hey, that is not the question at hand. It's badminton.
God.
It's badminton. Answer the question. Badminton, sport, yes, no.
I'm going to go with that. It's
It's definitely a sport, man. You're running all around the court. You can spike it. So it's like a mixture between volleyball and tennis. Actually, more like volleyball, but you're using a racket, which is an extra skill involved. Oh, it's definitely a sport. There's no doubt about that. Where are all these you've seen a lot of professional badminton players? They all look like mathematicians.
You've never watched it. You watch a badminton game and you text me, okay?
It's a match.
Yeah, okay, whatever it is. Game, set, match. You watch a little round of badminton, I swear, you will immediately thank Math Club whenever you see these cats. Promise.
Are you just not good at badminton?
No, I'm very
another thing you're not good at, so it's not a sport.
No, I'm very good. I'm very good. I take that. What's it called? Is it a cock shot or whatever?
Oh, I think it is. It's something like that. I don't know if it's a cock shot, but it's something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm pretty good at badminton. Pretty good at volleyball too. But badminton is not a sport. Absolutely not. So, Leighton, recap.
We have bowling, 2-1 sport. We have tractor pull, unanimously not a sport. And badminton, once again, 2-1.
All right, guys. So we promise you the saucy six-pack every week, and we will deliver. This week we have a six-pack of games for you to break down in the NFL and give you some winners. So first game on our list, we have the Ravens going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals on Thursday night. Guys, who's coming out of this game 2-0?
I'm going to take the under and the Bengals.
I'm going to agree with you on the under. Both these teams put up way more offense, though, last week than I thought they were possible of doing. But I'm going to say the Ravens' defense is better, so I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah,
Joe
I agree.
Flacco's elite.
Joe Flacco actually played really well. You look at that team, I know Nathan Peterman sucks and the defense would thrive. But Joe Flacco, with his misfit set of toys, was able to actually play really well. I think that the Ravens defense is going to be a huge step up for the Bengals to try to conquer from, going from Indy last week. I think it's going to be a close game. There's obviously not going to be a lot of scoring. It is a Thursday night game. I'm going to go like 20-17 with the Ravens. So guys, probably a game that last week, if we'd have had different results, we wouldn't have had on here. We actually have the Chiefs going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers on Sunday. Who do we have winning this game?
Steelers at home. Big time bounce back.
You don't go against Ben Roethlisberger at home.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with that. I think that Big Ben at home is just a different animal. He won't throw 3 picks. And Mahomes, I'm going to have to see more, even though I do think he is the second best quarterback in the AFC West. So we're going to go ahead. The Vikings, I know we all love picking the Vikings whenever they're at home. It's almost a cheat code. But this week, they head to Lambeau to take on the Packers with maybe a little bit of a banged-up Aaron Rodgers. This will actually be a very big game, possible NFC championship game. Who do we have in this one?
I'm going to go with the Vikings, regardless of if Rodgers is healthy or not. They're just a way better team.
Well, if Rodgers is out, it's automatic Vikings. The Packers are awful without him. But I'm going to go with the Vikings. The Packers struggled against the Bears defense, and I think the Vikings defense is a little bit better than that. So I'm going to go with the Vikings.
I'm gonna go with everything Brandon said there. But the only difference is the Vikings defense is just a little bit better than the Bears. It's a lot of bit better than the Bears. I mean, we don't have an Xavier Rhodes. Otherwise, if we did, we'd have had a pick at the very end of the game there. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings, and I think it's gonna be a little bit of a blowout. So we'll actually go to a game which will stick with the NFC divisional matchup, NFC South game. Panthers going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Who do we got?
I'm going to go with the Falcons just because at Atlanta didn't look that great week 1, but they will have team to be at home.
Well, I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think their defense really impressed me against the Cowboys. They absolutely dominated them. I'm going to go with the Panthers, and I'm just going to go with the better team. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think that they're the better team. I think, in fact, their offense had looked really bad last week. I think the Cowboys kind of suck. I think the Cowboys are going to have a huge, huge struggle this year. I do like the Falcons in this just because it is home. They'll be piping in that crowd noise, that they do like to do there in Atlanta. It's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go with the Falcons. I think they're going to make a point this week to get Julio Jones the ball in the red zone, but I've said that for 16 weeks now, so we'll see. So AFC championship game just last year, Patriots playing the Jaguars, this time in Jacksonville. Guys, where are we leaning in this game? It's actually a pick 'em in Vegas, in case those of you are looking for a spread.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. Everything about football tells me to go with the Jaguars. The Patriots have Bill Belichick.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars just because I think I don't like the Patriots, honestly.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think that
not even close.
I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't. I think it has a potential to be a blowout. You look at how bad Deshaun Watson played last week. He even played worse than what a bad Blake Bortles does. Still a 7-point game. Now, the Patriots aren't a team that come out hot right out of the gate. I mean, I'm looking at them the last 6 years. 3 of those years they were 500 after 4 games in. I think this is going to be another one of those years. They'll have playoff success, but early on, Bill Belichick doesn't give a shit if he wins this game or not. He's waiting for Julian Edelman to come back. He's evaluating talent still. The guy's a genius. Jaguars are going to rout him, though, this week. So last game, Sunday Night Football. We have the Giants and the Cowboys, 2 teams that are not very familiar with Sunday Night Football. For some reason, these teams could never really find the spotlight. So who do we have in this game?
I got to go with the Giants. I mean, the Giants defense is not as good as the Panthers defense was. That's what I saw from the Cowboys offense last week. I just can't pick them.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Giants, this is another blowout alert. We saw a Cowboys team did not pass midfield until the third quarter. So take that for what you want. So, guys, this is our chance to give our producer, Leighton, a chance in the spotlight. And he goes out every weekend, grinds, watches movies, and comes back and tells us a little bit about them. So this week, guys, we hope you enjoy Pip's Entertainment Review.
1 2 1 2 Pip's Entertainment Review. Sit on down for a movie to view.
Well, today I bring you the season finale of Hard Knocks. Every year it's my least favorite episode because 9% of it is just the game, because it shows you the last game before players get cut, played higher in the season, and I'm all about the behind-the-scenes stuff. So the episode starts out with Michael Kendricks, his whole insider trading deal, kind of that they're going to cut him, and then it's basically just telling us what insider trading is so everybody knows.
Did they have Martha Stewart on to break it down?
They now also want to break it down, fortunately. That would have been much better.
Opportunity.
Good opportunity. Good job, HBO. And then it cuts to John Dorsey and Hugh talking in Hugh's office about, who they're going to keep. We got 2 of the greatest football minds in the game just meshing to form this team that's going to tie with Pittsburgh week 1 for the +5 turnover differential. And then
I love that team.
And then it cuts to the game, and you see Nate Orchard do what Nate Orchard does. He got the 1 pick six that came back, and then he missed some sacks. Then he got Brogby, Brogby, what the fuck his name is, being a full-string quarterback kind of guy. And then it's just the game, and Baker Mayfield looks awesome because no matter what, this show will show you Baker Mayfield doing something awesome. This week we got zero film of Baker Mayfield in practice being good, but we got a whole lot in game Baker Mayfield being good. And then game ends. They cut the guys, and the season ends with Hugh Jackson saying things be different, and turn his lights off, and then boom, cut to the credits. Worst episode of the series of the season. 1.5 dips. It's not HBO's fault.
Wow.
Can't clean it down. They didn't give me any Josh Gordon. And that is the most disappointing thing of the entire series or season. It's not their fault, but I wanted Josh Gordon. They could have gave me something in that episode. He was at the facility, and I just didn't get it. And it kind of pissed me off.
Speaking of not getting Josh Gordon, did you see Hugh Jackson get pissed whenever he realized that Josh Gordon accidentally started the game?
They did not show that, no.
Okay, so apparently Josh Gordon was not supposed to start the game. He was only supposed to come in, kind of a disciplinary action. You know how Hugh is. He likes to really put his foot down, discipline guys sometimes and not discipline them the other. He's weird. He has a really weird thing. I really can't explain it because sometimes if you're in trouble, you have to play, and sometimes if you're in trouble, you have to sit on the bench. So it's really weird. We'll have to get Hugh on here to explain it. Anyways, Josh Gordon was not supposed to start. Disciplinary actions. Well, the first play he called was a play that was necessary for Josh Gordon to be in that package, and so Josh Gordon started, and he said that was a big mistake on their part. Big mistake. Do you think that was the difference between them winning and losing week 1?
No, probably not. If it actually probably helped them tie, honestly.
How bad of a football coach is he? That's what he's worried about immediately after the game. That's the first question that he attacks.
Yeah.
He's standing at the podium. He's like, "Damn it, guys! Josh Gordon wasn't supposed to be out there for that one play, series."
It wasn't the horrible offensive attack. It wasn't the fact they got 6 turnovers to win the game. Josh Gordon played too many plays.
But he took full responsibility for the play that he called. So hats off to Hugh. He's a good man. Stand up guy.
Yeah, he's a man who really takes full responsibility. So Leighton, other than Hard Knocks, okay, so Hard Knocks as a whole, what would you give it?
This season, I'm going to give it 2.1 dips.
Okay, where would you rank it all time on Hard Knocks?
Oh man, that's a tough question. Between 6 and 10. This is one of the lesser seasons, to be honest.
Wow, they really messed up.
Fairly disappointed in this season.
That's bad. That's really bad.
It's not always Bill's fault. I mean, it's the Browns. You don't do so much with it, but
I noticed that the more that you talked about Hugh Jackson being in the show, the less you liked it, which makes sense. I mean, the more Hugh Jackson coaches a team, the less I like that team to win. So that would make sense. Other than Hard Knocks, did you get a chance to watch any movies this week?
I did. I got to watch that movie called the Happy Time Murders. Hasty Pretty for that. It's like the it's like the raid on Sesame Street.
It's the Muppets.
The Muppets, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's funny shit. Funny stuff. It's all Melissa McCarthy, and basically she's an ex-detective, and her ex-detective partner is a Muppet, and somebody's going around killing the Sesame Street would be characters from the show for revenge.
You can't kill a puppet, though.
You can. They do in the movie a lot.
But they're not alive.
But in the movie, they're real Jake in the movie.
Wow. How many dips would you give this movie? Other than Melissa McCarthy, who else is in it?
McCarthy, the only big actor. He watched The Office. I can't remember the actor's name right now, but Stanley from The Office is in it.
Oh yeah, he's the man.
Stanley, the police chief. Hearing him say "fuck" is pretty funny.
Uh-oh. That's a dirty word.
If you're a fan of The Office, you say the F word, you'll laugh pretty hard. But it's okay. It's comedy. I get 1.7 dips.
1.7. Okay. All right. So, guys, be sure to check out the Happy Time Murders. Would you recommend it?
If you like really, really, really crude humor, so if you're into that kind of thing, yeah, it's funny. Go see it.
Okay. So everybody that probably is a loyal listener to this show would probably like it. So go check it out.
Fletcher, check it out.
Yes, that's who I thought of immediately whenever I heard that. So, guys, bold predictions for this week. What do we have for us?
The Athletics and Astros actually tied for the division lead at the end of the week.
The Raiders not only win tonight, but Amari Cooper gets 120 and a touchdown.
Ooh, I think he's more likely to not have a catch than 120 and a touchdown.
He's going to have one or the other.
Maybe 120 drops.
Yeah,
He could
I
have
can
that
see
too.
that. My bold prediction is actually that double-digit dog, LSU, Ed Orgeron and the boys go down to Auburn and dismantle a top 10 team. Guys, anything else before we sign off for today?
Listen to this show after September 13th. And definitely listen on SoundCloud because we'll be off SoundCloud in 2 days. So, for the last listener out there on SoundCloud, I know who you are, Papa C. Go to Spotify.
And on that note, for Drake, for Leighton, and B-Right, as always, Dippers, stay saucy.